Right, not sure which one my calorie counting will let me have. Counting calories can be up to 90% inaccurate. Not only that, it sucks the enjoyment out of food. Actually, it's not sustainable. I want to tell you today why you're far better off being calorie smart instead of calorie obsessed, and we're going to start right now. Hi everybody, Jason Davies here at Body Remastered. Good to see you again. Today we're going to talk about why it's really important to be calorie smart and not calorie obsessed. If you're new here and this is the first time you've seen one of the Body Remastered videos, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on a thing, because there's some great material yet to come. I know the typical story, and I'm not judging because I've tried it myself. What typically happens is we go onto a website and we try what they call a calorie calculator. We put our age in, we put our gender in, we start to put in typical information about our body and how active we are. And then that will ultimately calculate what it thinks, what the calculator thinks our total calories should be for that day. And then we vigorously try to ensure that we keep an eye on our calories from day to day so we don't go over that limit, depending what we're trying to achieve. We might even go so far as to have a spreadsheet so we're really tracking every single calorie. Then eventually, probably after about 4 weeks or so, it becomes a battle between our stomach and the numbers. You start getting fixated on these numbers, and then you classify some good days and some bad days. But you're sick of counting, so you do it anyway. Then within weeks or months, you basically quit the process because of a lack of enjoyment and ultimately the amount of restriction that calorie counting causes. I'm going to talk about 5 things right now for reasons why you shouldn't count calories, and give you some basic alternatives that are going to be so much better and sustainable. And it means that you will actually achieve your weight loss or weight gain journey. So let's start with the first one, food psychology battle. And this is normal because we're humans. The fact is that there's no problem to love food. But if you use food as a process for being happy or replacing something else in life, then it can be a problem. Weight loss is 90% psychological, 90%. So we think about exercises and everything, but actually it's about shifting our mindset and how we think about food. What is our relationship with food? Do we eat every time we feel negative thoughts or when we become emotional? Do we eat when we are clearly bored and don't have enough stimulating things going on? How about eating when you're hungry and to stop eating when you feel full? Most of the time, no calculator can give you the information that you know yourself about your body. Listen to your body, and often getting overweight is caused through overeating. Going through past that phase of when you're hungry and you continue to eat. And sometimes that's because of boredom or other things. Don't use food to fill a void in your life. Even if it means finding another hobby, doing something else that's interesting to you, or just literally being more social. Don't use food as that process for filling in something that's maybe missing. You know, maybe try strength training. Go on to www.bodyremastered.com today and use that to fill in the space for overeating or eating just due to boredom. It's a classic thing, and it's a lot of humans do it. I do it all the time, but there's other ways to psychologically think about that and change your relationship with food. The next one is not all calories are created equal. This is a classic, and because the fact is that as humans we like to keep things simple. Calories in, calories out. Well, it is that simple, but not every calorie is the same as another calorie. And that's why food quality is far more important than food quantity. So, there's different reasons why one calorie may not equal another one. The first one is what they call the thermic effect of food. This is in essence the body's effort to digest and metabolize and absorb that food and that calorie. Some calories are far more easy to absorb and metabolize than others. And that's why protein has a high thermic effect. That means it takes a lot to break down protein. Hence, it's quite a good macronutrient to include within your diet because of the thermic effect that it has compared to some other macronutrients. The next one, which I've mentioned this before as well, is protein, the value of protein. It reduces your appetite. You will feel less hungry after having enough protein within your diet or in any one meal. Protein also has a great effect on your weight regulating hormones. So ultimately, if you include more protein, you will snack less, and that's great. The other one here, the classic one, is the effect that 1 calorie can have on insulin sensitivity, weight regulating hormones, and how hungry you feel. A great example of this is fructose versus glucose. Fructose, often found in fruit, can actually increase the hunger hormone, and therefore you feel more hungry after having it. Fructose also increases insulin resistance, which in turn could increase your body fat over time. But hold your horses if you think you're just going to eliminate fruit from your diet. Fruit has so many other advantages in terms of fibre and really nutritional value that glucose won't just provide you if you was to eat sugar. So it's not just about reducing one for like, but what I'm saying here is that just because 1 calorie gives you 1 calorie, it doesn't mean it has the same value or same effect on your overall body. And the next one is what they call a glycemic index. And I'm sure you've heard of this before, but that is basically the effect that the calorie or food has to your blood glucose level. How quickly does it raise the blood glucose level? Refined carbs increase that blood glucose level quite drastically, and then it crashes, and that causes you to eat again, which is not a great effect. Okay, next one, guys, is that it's hugely inaccurate. So inaccurate that it's actually kind of pointless. Do you think those calorie numbers on the food labels that you get in the supermarket consider you as a person? Of course they don't. They don't consider how your body will digest the food. They don't consider the bacteria in your body which will consume some of the calories in the food itself. It doesn't actually take into any account how you're going to cook the food. You're going to microwave it, you're going to boil it. That will change the physical and chemical nature of the food and hence the calories themselves. And it makes me laugh when I see such meticulous calorie counting. Think about if you bought a loaf of bread in the supermarket. Each slice is not going to have the same calorie count. Doesn't matter if it's made in a factory or not. You know, one, the slices are not cut to absolute accuracy, and secondly, you know, every slice is composed of different fibres. So ultimately, it's not going to be the same. So why be so obsessed with calorie counting? Food companies are actually allowed up to 5 different methodologies for estimating calories, and they have a room of error of about 20%. So when you compound all these points that I've made, and not to mention there's so many others, it can lead to up to 50+% inaccuracy, and in some cases up to 90% inaccuracy. So why bother being so critical on yourself because you went 100 calories or 100 calories down based on what a calculator tells you? Alright, the next one, guys, is, and perhaps the most important, it sucks the enjoyment out of food. One thing we always remember at Body Remastered, and this is one of the most important pieces of information we provide you, is that if you want to succeed in something the long term, if you want to succeed in a challenge, then it has to be sustainable. And often sustainability, enjoyment and fulfillment are part of the same cloth. You have to enjoy what you're doing. Counting calories and being obsessed with bored food is not enjoyment, and therefore you're likely to start it but not finish it. In fact, you're likely to hate the process, which is probably going to lead you to putting on more weight. I'm not going to say anything new here. You need to follow a balanced diet. And who says a balanced diet isn't fun or isn't tasty? There's so many things you can enjoy that is really helpful for you and your body in terms of the quality of food. Also, it's absolutely fine to incorporate cheat meals or cheat days into your weekly schedule. In fact, it's essential. It's the only way to make sure it's sustainable. The last thing you want to do is create what they call food guilt and always be guilty for certain snacks that you're taking, and actually that is worse. You're better off accepting and incorporating that so it's healthily balanced. One really basic technique we use here at Body Remastered is what they call calorie food substitution. Take a certain food that you really enjoy, but you know it's not the healthiest, and pick a little bit of a healthier alternative. It doesn't have to be really healthy, just a bit healthier. A real example is whole fat milk. Maybe choose semi-skimmed, or if you want to go a bit further, choose oat milk, which has a better, more nutritional value. Another example, maybe you like full fat Coke. Choose Diet Coke, or you know, Pepsi Max, or whatever it may be, to reduce that sugar content. So as I said, I'm not saying any one or that final substitution is really healthy. I'm saying it's a little bit healthier than the previous. Calorie substitution is a far better method, and then you already know in your head roughly what kind of foods you have per day. You don't need to count the calories obsessively. You just need to understand, okay, if I switch this for this, the chances are I'm going to get better results. And last one, guys, is metabolism is a tricky factor. And the reason I'm saying that is that you can't ignore metabolism. And I love those calorie calculators because they say, what are you active? Are you very active? Are you moderately active? It's such a grouped category, it's impossible to determine, and therefore it makes the whole result of the calorie count impossible. There's no harm in using it as an indicator, but being obsessive about calorie counting has no value, and it's just not wise. Let's say one day that your calorie limit is 2,500 calories. You can't go any more than that. But you go a little bit mad, you go a bit on a food binge, and you have, I don't know, 5,000 calories or even less. But you've gone well over your limit. In theory, that means you should put on a pound of fat, right? Well, no, it doesn't work like that. Your body the next day may not absorb the same sort of calories because it's always trying to reach what they call homeostasis. The body's trying to return to normal. It alters its basal metabolic rate. Your body has such a function where it can decide in terms of what it's trying to absorb and what it isn't. So it's not just as simple as the calories in, calories out in that way. However, what does matter is what's long term, because over the coming weeks and months, the body will change. It may lose weight or it may gain weight. So what you choose has to be sustainable. Not to mention that you burn calories all the time. Just your brain cognitive function is burning calories by thinking. You're burning calories through your blood flow. You're burning calories to maintain the body temperature that you have. You're burning calories to digest, to breathe. All these things are also burning calories. So it's just not as simple as classing a moderately active, very active person or very inactive. It's just not simple. So remember, use it as an indicator, calorie counter. But don't be overly obsessed and do not let it ruin your relationship with food. So, you've given us all the problems, what's the solution? Well, here's some basics, but there's loads of different ones, and you should go out to www.bodyweighmaster.com and check out the equivalent blog on this exact subject and subscribe, and we give you some information on particularly fats, some healthy fats and some more unhealthy fats to start you off in this journey. But here's some basic things you should adopt. First one, just eat some smaller food portions. Remember, it's quality over quantity. Next one is choose foods that use more calories. Basically foods that are of higher quality. Next one is consume the right types of foods. Remember the nutritious ones, and if you can, always try and cook your own foods. Next one is listen to your body, only you know that, and also try and consume a little bit more water. Next one is try calorie substitution instead of calorie deprivation, and also try and consume a balanced diet. The next one is reduce the tendency of rewarding yourself with food. I mean, there's no harm in going to a restaurant to celebrate, etc., and having cheat days, etc., but don't use it solely as a reward process. Use other activities, find other things you enjoy to take up that space. Finally, I can't not say it, join www.bodyweighmaster.com and let us help you to exercise, but more importantly, incorporate strength training into your overall training regime. Thanks everybody, I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned because there's going to be lots more to come. I hope you have a great day. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and I'll speak to you again soon.